Good afternoon, good evening, g'day, and all that sort of stuff. It's the 16th of April, and the boys and girls, and guys and women, and stuff people in their 580s are on their way towards Marquise. It's getting closer and closer every day, and the days are rocketing by, and the conditions are changing. So I've been following a few of the posts, and they're all talking about different things, but the most interesting in the last 24 hours has been the sea state. So they're getting bounced around a bit, apparently. So that's cool. That's sailing. So I'm going to get straight into the tracker. G'day, Marek. That confirms someone's up. Jane's sleeping right now in China, ducked up. So you're my test to make sure everything's working. Didn't shave. Who didn't shave? I had it. No, I had a beard trim yesterday or the day before. I can usually get by without for about a week. I'll have a close trim, and then if I haven't redone it within a week, but I think I did it on Monday. I often use Mondays, hair trim and beard trim. There you go. Unless that was meant for someone else. So Stargate, if you didn't shave, I feel sorry for you. Okay, so I'll go straight into the tracker and see what's happening. Here we go. You're on the tracker now. I've got to get me on the tracker. Okay, and jeepers, the Galapagos look really small back there now. So the fleet is stretching out quite a bit. Let's just see. Forgetting about the boys down the back, they are in the fleet, but they're so far back. I'm not going to measure that. We've got a fleet split now of 880 miles. So that gives you an idea front to back. That's from Renaud. Oh, it's probably a bit too far there. 870 miles, near enough, from Renaud to Gary. And we've been out there for 3 weeks now. Yeah, 3 and a bit weeks. 3 weeks, 1 day. So that's kind of interesting. They've all got breeze, but before we get into the positioning, let's look at the sea state, because a few of them. I just got a report from Eric's manager, and he said it had a lumpy night last night. Yeah, there's a bit of purple there. Okay, so remembering, for those that, if you go down to the bottom of the chart here, the colour gives you the size. I'll bring that purple patch over here, and just looking at that, it's probably in here. So 3.5 to, you could be getting 4 in here, so below Renaud, 3.5. So, and Eric, he was saying last night it was a bit lumpy. You can see here, when you're looking at this, there is actually a graphic for some of the things that are happening, and it's tied up to the wind direction and the currents and so on. But you can see there's a zone through here which looks very confused, because you've got sort of this wave pattern coming from the southwest, then you've got something happening here from the northeast, and so there's a convergence there. So Adam's probably getting it right now. Same with Jacob. Jasmine probably have a bit further because it's back here, but they've had some confusing seas for sure. That's, I'm not sure how accurate this is, but that's what that indicates. Here it's pretty much all the same way, and that's potentially 3.5, 4 meters there. And it could be part of I'm wondering why it's there, because the wind strength doesn't seem too bad. You look at the wind strength there. It's not too bad. So currents, let's have a look at the currents seeing we here. Now the currents are going sort of with the wind, so that's not too bad either. Now we won't get a pressure gradient here, but maybe I'm going to scheme this right back, because there's a cyclone over by Fiji at the moment. Well, there's a possible bit of it. There's now this is a low pressure system. So there's a pretty big low pressure system there. How many hectopascals? We'll check the scale at the bottom here. Okay, so that's about, it's not that low, but there's, I know why, because it turns inside out. Yeah, that's interesting. So this is absolute, there's a high pressure there, there's a low pressure there, it's spitting something up, but it's a long way away. It's a bit of a stretch to think that that's creating waves there. So I don't think we have to worry about that. While I'm here, I'm going to have a look at this cyclone. No, it's not there yet. I'll have to look at it finger. Okay, so that was a bit of a useless thing, but something we don't talk about much because there's not a lot of pressure gradient up there anyway. Okay, we're already here, so let's just look at the wind for. I'm going back to front this time. We haven't spoken about individual performance, but we're already on this scale, so rather than going back and forwards, we'll just check the trade winds and make sure they're all going to get something. So we got this is tomorrow. It's picking up. So Renaud's got a bit of a puff there for 8 hours or something. This is now the 18th, so we're on to the second day. So, and it's a bit fickle there. Again, you can see it's starting to get holes everywhere. So you've got patches, patch there, patch there, patch there with puffs in between. So it looks unstable. And let's just look at the clouds for there. Oh, yeah, there's something going through there. So when you see clouds like that in a big long line, it's absolutely unstable. So I'd say they've got another, this is 2 days ahead, excuse me, or 16, 17, 18. It's a day and a half ahead. So let's just go back. Sorry. Everyone, I apologise for my coughing and spluttering here. That's forming up over the next. Oh no, it's still pretty unsettled, eh? That's so there's not. It's trade winds, but it's got lots of other influences there as well, and so I think you're going to still hear about squalls and hard work at night time, things like that. Sails in, sails out, and a funny sea state, but there's something going on there, and that's with all the squalls around. That's when you can get confused seas if they're close enough together. But it starts to get better from the 19th by the look of it. And there's some more up the end. Okay, so yeah, as I was saying, if you sometimes when you get big squalls everywhere, it can create its own sea state and make cross seas, generally uncomfortable. So they're getting a bit of that as well. There you go. Okay, so we'll get rid of that. Stick with the. What are we? Now I'm getting confused. We should just get the handle on the currents and just bounce that forward a day. Okay, that's a day. No, it's all just fading away. It's what we said yesterday. Nothing big surprises coming up the end, but everyone's sort of in a general area. It's helping them, but not a lot for some. Maybe 10 miles for others. Something like that. Okay, back to the wind here, boom, and we can look at who's going where and at what speed. I'll go right to the back here because I see the boys are drifting a bit. I'm not sure why. Here we go. I'll make that a bit bigger. So John is coming up behind Popeye. Maybe they swapped boats. I don't know. Anyway, he's doing 3.4 and did 21 nautical mile a day. And you know why? Because there's the rum line. That's the course they're meant to be going on. And for some reason, they're heading south, probably to stay in the breeze, I'd say. And Popeye's doing 4.3, 10 nautical miles. So that'll depress them. If they saw that, they might be watching this tracker, but probably not. And currents for them, oh boy, they obviously not watching the current line. But then maybe they are, because if I was them, I probably would have turned the corner and just followed the rum line for this one, just to get started and then hook it down there. They're on the other side now, so as they're going forward, they've got a bit of a head current here. And if they had have just carried on where the others were, they got a big head current there. So there was some real reasons to go with the current. But then there's no wind there. Remember that? So forget that. Scrap that plan. That's how you got to have an interface in your brain. So you got to put the wind over the current and all that sort of stuff. So better to stay with the breeze. At least they're moving. And if we slide that forward a little bit, here's tomorrow. This time tomorrow, it's still holding down the middle. So they'll probably ride that down, and then they go the next day. Next day, that's about it again there, and it is stretching out a bit, so they're probably going to try and run down this line. That explains what they're doing, I would say. And then for the 19th, yeah, they got some challenges. Anyway, they're sailing, they're heading in the right direction because they're not in Panama anymore. That's a good thing. So here we go with the rest. And I've already pre-checked this when it was on the big scale before I came out. They're all, except for, I'll show you what goes on. We'll get there in a minute. 5.1 knots for Gary, 123 mile day. He's in the groove, so that's cool. I forget how far away he was from Josh, but 124 miles for Josh, 5.3, and 123. So Josh is pulling away from Gary. That's cool. Jasmine, 5.1 knots, 124 miles. That's the same as Josh. So they're holding their own. And no one's gaining or losing. Jacob, 5.2, 118. Jasmine's catching up to Jacob. Ooh, that's pretty cool. And let's just, I'll measure it out in a minute just to see how far off they are. 5.3 for Adam. They're all sitting on 5.3, but at 132 miles. Mark's there doing 5.6, so he's just passing him a bit. Christian, 5 knots, 122 mile day. Ayrton, 121. Okay, he's back with the others, but he's only doing 4.6. So he's softened off again, middle of the night there. No, it's not. It's daytime now. 6 knots for Eric and 130 mile day. He's on the move. I've got a report from his manager. I'll read that in a minute. They're all sitting on similar speeds. So Dan Turk, 5.8. 5.8 for Dan and 139. He's on the move. And I should check their times. Yeah, they're all 4 o'clock. There's only one that's half an hour out. Peeler, 5.8, 142 mile day. That's pretty good. That's pretty good, 142 versus 139. So she's keeping Dan at bay. And then Kerry is on a funny timeline. He's on 15:33. I have no idea why he missed that last half hour, but it's close enough to be good enough. 133. So Peeler's taken some distance out on him, doing 5.7 knots. No reports of any dramas, which is encouraging. And Dan, Holiday Dan, 5.9 knots, 146 Shapers. 146 versus he's on a roll there. He's got Renaud in his sights. No wonder Nicky's getting excited. So that's pretty cool. Bit of an effort going on there. It's kind of funny. Imagine what's going through the mind of this lot here. They're all in striking distance. This is the lead group. They all know where he is, and they all know where they are. Dan's trying to pull away and stake his claim on the lead group. Eric's just trundling along and wondering why he's so far up the front. A dinky die Aussie. Eric is a great guy, and he's quintessential Australian bloke in his accent and his mannerisms and everything. It's pretty cool. Completely different than Dan, Holiday Dan. Not that Dan's not an Aussie, but they're from different parts of Australia and different accents, and, different nature, the whole bit. It's quite cool. Okay, I got distracted. So everyone's after this guy up front. Now I'm too scared to look, but let's see. 6.2, 143. Yeah, it's okay. 143. Dan, the Holiday man, is taking miles from Renaud. He's got 146. So Renaud's on 143. So come on, Renaud. Stop cooking. Concentrate on your sailing. You just lost 3 miles. And 143. And then Kerry. But you took out 10 miles on Kerry. Not good for Kerry. Okay, so that's pretty much all I can say for the stats there. Let's just measure them off just to give you a distance perspective. So Jasmine, here, I'm going to push this up and roll it along. I'll go bow to bow. So Jasmine's bow to Jacob's bow. Straight line on the course, which is about there. She's 34 miles behind Jacob. So Jasmine, 34 miles behind Jacob. Behind Adam. She's 70 miles behind Adam. She's 111 miles behind Christian. And she's Hang on. Hang on. Come on. She's 138 behind Ayrton. Okay, so I could have put that the other way around and said something like Ayrton is not on the right timeline. So that's all wrong. He's on 12 o'clock still. So he'll be another 20 miles in front or something up here. So, but all of these boats could have been that far in front of Jasmine rather than Jasmine being behind them. So that just gives you a bit of a size perspective. And let's just have a look up here. I've got to click and drag these. Boom, boom. See how far Dan is from the lead here. I've got to use straight line on the course. That's about it there. Still 103 miles, 104 miles behind. So quite a challenge to take it up from there. And before I shut this down, we'll go and look how far to go to the Marquesas. Here we are, getting closer. There's a lot of boats cruising out there at the moment. I just saw 59 North just left the Galapagos, headed for Marquesas. They'll probably arrive about the same time. Shit, it's still 1,432 miles to go. So that's 12 days, 13 days. And we've got 14 days to get in by the end of the month, and I really think the leaders will be there before the end of the month. That's pretty cool. I better count my knuckles and work out how many days. January, February, March, April, May, June. Oh, we're in May. January, February, March, April is 30 days. Right. I'm assuming everyone counts their knuckles. Okay, I don't think I can show you anything there, so I'm just going to come back here and me in there. Boom, boom. There we go. Okay, so that was a bit of a quick one. Not so quick, 17 minutes still. Jeez. You should do these really quick on the GTR. Okay, Merrick, g'day. Stargate, John, g'day, John. Aaron Nortic, the two gentlemen left Panama. They sure did. Because hope everything's safe and everyone is into the finish line. Yeah, me too. Sid, Kerry had seas the size of houses last night. Sydney is Kerry's manager. That's what I was saying. I'm picking up that it is sea state stuff. There's a bit of a thing going on, and the house is a pretty big. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe even 5 meters. So it could have been pushing up all over the place. But sea state and effort seems to be the big thing at the moment. So I hope the duct tape on board Trekker and on his main hatch is holding. Trekker's got a damaged companionway hatch, which is amazing. And he can't get it into Marquesas by the look of it, so it's got to carry on to Tahiti. Some delivery challenges to get anything into the Marquesas. So, but that's interesting. Houses coming at you. So hopefully we can see a report on that later on. And if managers are watching, remember we need pictures. We've got to do a press release next week. So we're desperate to get pictures from the crew. So if you get any, send them down. John, besides sea state problems, it also affects their ability to top off their batteries. Yeah, the clouds is a problem. But that's a beautiful thing. Every time I see that, I say, oh, it's beautiful. I like the idea of 200 amps and 200 watts. It's a good combination. Keeps them serious. You know, all that stuff that's fluff around the edges. It's just a boat like Trekker. But anyway, that's part of the management game. And if they manage it correctly, you can go for a long time if you manage it correctly. So it's still safe. Christine, rather. From you're still there in Panama. Jonathan, still voting to limit satellite communications use for the transatlantic? No, we've made a decision. I've just got to work out now how we manage it. So the Transat in 2026, 26 rather, is going to be open communications. So any of them could take Starlink if they wanted to, and there'll be some restrictions on a few little things, and we've got to make sure we get media in so we can repost it, or rather than repost. We have a problem, which I've mentioned a couple of times before. When we're sharing other entrants' posts, our visibility and tracking of the algorithm and everything on Facebook is a negative input because we're not producing any original stuff. When you're producing original stuff, Facebook will say, oh, that's original, they produced it, it's on their site, we can share it around, and so it'll pop up on people's places and they see us. When we just share other people's posts, that's like not even putting a post up. So it's as if we're a dead site. And so we then have this snowball effect where it just tones down because because that's what happens. So if you want to help us, like and share and push it around. But that's one mistake that we've made. We're losing the opportunity to create original posts on the MGR Facebook page, and that's costing us a little bit at the moment, but that's fine. So so the Transat, I'm still writing the working. I didn't do anything on it today. The notice of race for the Transat, but I've got an objective to get it done within the next week or something and get everything out there. So the Journey of Shark, the two from Panama don't seem to have a lot of doldrums area ahead. Well, let's keep our fingers crossed, because they certainly don't want to drop too far behind. John used to keep up with the fleet. Popeye sometimes was challenged, and if he's going slower, then we're hoping to see them in Fiji. We'll have to wait and see. So fingers crossed. Okay, that's it. So thank you, and we should be up tomorrow as well. If I ever miss a one day, don't stress. Everything's fine. I'm still sailing. I haven't pressed any panic buttons, but anyway, we'll see. And if you're a manager, stand by. There's about to be a test going out. So if you're a manager watching this, keep an eye on your messages, because I'm about to do a safety check test to managers. Oh, that's got them talking. Anyway, communication is the key to success. Absolutely. All right. Thanks for that. And we'll. I pressed the wrong button last night. I'll press this one first. See you later. Oh, it's nothing.
Witness history in the making. The McIntyre Mini Globe Race 2025. Small boat, huge adventure.